And so it came to pass that the three wise men made their way from the land in the east into the setting sun, across the four corners in the painted desert. And they came to behold the bright neon star illuminating the sky high above the Tropicana Hotel and Casino in Laughlin, Nevada. I am not making this up. The three wise men had been locked in a self-storage bin in a town east of where the king was born. No one had visited them in nearly a year, and cobwebs were already taking over the storage bin. But when they were released, their first destination was to the city where the king was born. And I am talking, of course, about Tupelo, Mississippi. My mother loved Christmas. Each year, for as long as I can remember, she made new Christmas decorations, and the ones I remember the most were the three wise men. They were made of strips of old rags, wheat pasted round 7-Up, Dr. Pepper, and Cheerwine bottles. They were painted with Byzantine robes. They had kite strings for beards. And the lid from a Prel shampoo bottle was used as one of the jewels in the crown. And the chest containing the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh was made from the red plastic hotel from a Monopoly set. In the time of King Herod, the three wise men came to Jerusalem to ask where the king had been born, for they had seen the star rise, which foretold of his coming. And Herod called his scribes and astronomers into council, and it was concluded that the king was born in Bethlehem of Judea. And the three wise men were sent with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And most importantly, instructions to return and tell Herod the exact location of his birth. In short, the three wise men were spies. My mother passed in February. And this past Thanksgiving, I returned to my hometown of Stone Mountain, Georgia, to plant a dogwood tree in her honor. And I felt that enough time had passed for me to be able to roll up the storage bins and find some more treasures, vestiges of a life now enshrined in Ziploc baggies and Tupperware containers, awaiting their fate to be decided by her heirs, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, afterlife. And then I came across the red and green Tupperware container, and I opened it up, and that profusion of childhood memories rose like the dough of my first Chef Boyardee pizza, and the memories of my mother Elmer's gluing that Monopoly piece into the hands of a Dr. Pepper bottle called to me, and it was obvious the three wise men must join me on my journey. And when the wise men found the Holy Family, they did indeed present the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. But most importantly, upon their arrival on the 12th day of Christmas, thus launching the very first Mardi Gras season, the three wise men had a change of heart. And much like the slave trader John Newton, as he wrote Amazing Grace, and he turned his slave ship around and set his captive cargo free, the three wise men had an epiphany, and they did indeed warn the Holy Family of Herod's intent to kill this potential threat to his power. But not knowing that the Holy Family had been warned, Herod sent armed forces into Bethlehem to kill all of the firstborn children. It is known as the slaughter of the innocents. But the first family had indeed been warned, and they did indeed escape with the three wise men. They escaped to Memphis, Egypt, and that's how it came to pass that the three wise men made their way to Memphis in a 2008 Chevy Tahoe, and they came to behold the bright chrome pyramid known as the Memphis Convention Center in Memphis, Tennessee. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated at the Lorraine Motel. The Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee is now a civil rights museum. Frankincense. B.B. King is known as the King of the Blues. His music is preserved on Beale Street in Memphis. It is also known as the Blues Highway. We're talking Highway 61. His music served as the inspiration for what would later become rock and roll. Myrrh, Elvis Presley, born in Tupelo, Mississippi, became the king of rock and roll. He came to Memphis for the music. His house is a museum to generations. He has had more gold records than anyone else. He could arguably be said to have been heard by more people than anyone else born in this hemisphere. Gold. These three kings of Memphis have changed the world by bridging the cultures of black and white. Elvis Presley imbibed the black roots music of B.B. King, making it palatable for white audiences by turning it gold, while Martin Luther King used the power in the organization of the church to knock down the Jericho walls of segregation. The Holy Family returned to Memphis with the three kings. Well, no one knows what happened to the three kings after that. There are many stories about what happened to them because they chose to live out the remainder of their days in exile. Some stories have them becoming a part of the line of Genghis Khan, and others have them coming to this hemisphere to study with the Hopi. But I know for a fact that they went from Memphis to Okemah, Oklahoma to visit the home of Woody Guthrie, and then to Madrid, New Mexico, and up to the Four Corners. And as news stories came across my radio of our frequent wars and subsequent terrorist attacks, they flashed with the regularity of billboards advertising this holiday season. I think of the holiday, I think of the slaughter of the innocents. But my friends, that is how it came to pass. That the three wise men made their way from the four corners of Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico. And they came to behold the bright neon star illuminating the sky high above the Tropicana Hotel and Casino in Laughlin, Nevada. And this time there was room at the inn. When crossing the desert, I recommend staying in a casino, not a manger. It's a cheap place to rest. And in this case, the luxury hotel was only $19. And it came with a free buffet. And they even gave us a $5 credit card from which to gamble. And I don't normally do that. But under the circumstances, I figured, what the hell? I went out to my car and I got that red and green Tupperware container and I brought it into the casino and I opened it up and I set those quart-sized figurines on a bar stool in front of a one-armed bandit. Elvis Presley was singing Wise Men Say. As I stuck in the card, I pulled back that handle. 3 stars rolled around and stopped. And I won gold. I won frankincense. I won myrrh. I won $19. The room was paid for. I returned the figurines into the green and Tupperware container and continued on my journey across Route 66, heading towards home. I left on October 25th, and I was gone for 40 days and 40 nights. And when I returned on the 40th night, I thanked all of the weary travelers, all of the people who helped the weary travelers along their way this holiday season. My friends, may there always be room at the end.